motorcycle jack was the answer to move around that Porsche engine in my garage. See how easy I can push that thing around and under the car? So I rotated the engine 90 degrees, put it in place, and then we rotated it back another 90 degrees to put it in its proper position prior to jacking it up into the engine compartment. That was a little easier than I thought. There will be another video coming up real soon where I rip this engine apart and figure out the root cause of why it failed. So stay tuned to that. I'm now lowering the car ever so slightly to move the engine further into its engine compartment. You'd think it's super easy, just jacking up the engine, putting out the motor, bolting up the motor mounts, and away you go, but that was not the case. There was a lot of back and forth and up and down and wiggling and shimmying and shoving to finally get that motor in its proper resting position prior to bolting up the engine mounts, which I for some reason didn't record in this section of the project. Here I'm just jacking up the engine by hand gently into the cavity or the engine compartment. Be sure that I don't pinch any wires or hoses. That's gonna come back and bite me in the ass later on, so be very careful here. If you're doing something like this, if you're doing this and you feel any kind of resistance, stop and find out what's causing the resistance and remove that and continue on. The Porsche manual recommends that you install the engine and transmission in one piece. However, I'm not a Porsche mechanic, nor do I have a Porsche shop or the equipment, or am I strong enough to handle the engine and transmission's weight by myself. I decided to put the engine in separately from the transmission. If I had to do this again, I would do the exact same thing. The next video you'll see me installing the transmission, which was also not the easiest thing I've ever done. However, just the weight of this whole setup alone will probably freaking kill you if it falls. Pushing and shoving and yes, kicking continues back and forth and up and down to just trying to line this engine up with the motor mount, which you see here I'm tightening up. I believe there's 2 bolts on each side. Doing one side, going back and forth, tightening it up while the engine is still resting on the motorcycle jack, which has a mechanical lock. So right now it's resting not on the hydraulic lock but the mechanical lock. And once the front motor mount, which sits in the center, is buttoned up, I will then attach the cross member that goes across the rear with the steel plate that I had manufactured that the engine is going to rest on. And then I will attempt to mate the transmission to this beautiful 2.7 liter Porsche Boxster engine. I do not recall what line or hose this is. It's possibly the fuel line. It's been quite a while since I've done this, and sadly I didn't take any video from a different angle. I don't know why. What possessed me to just keep the camera on this angle, which is really stupid, so I gotta apologize for that. I think it's a fuel line or the power steering lines that I had to reconnect. Yeah, we can do that. I just and just kind of the process of putting the engine in. As you can see. I know you're not as excited as me.
Well, I'm very excited for you. go into or anything. I'm very, very excited. So it's going to be
That's
long.
run. If it doesn't run, just stay with me for about 6 months.
So what do? Do you just put it in and then like go
Wow.
start the key
Yeah.
and hope that it runs? Like
Put it in. Now I gotta hook up our hoses, and lines, and plugs and wires. Still lots of work to do. The engine's in.
yeah,
That's not done, right?
of course not. There's a lot to do.
So should have work has to be done after that. I just pull the hose clamps and I start the hose clamp out.
You got to what the
I
whole
just over tighten the hose clamp.
right.
Which means I broke it. So now I have to kind of.
Okay, well,
Where's anything going in? Stuck here, that's why.
At this point, you're probably wondering why I am showing you a video of me just struggling with putting the engine in place. The reason for that is when, or if you are attempting a project like this is most likely how it's going to transpire.
It's even worse now.
They make it look very easy on YouTube, and it is not easy. Especially if you have never done this before. And most likely if you're watching this video, you are not a professional. Most likely you've never done this, and you're wondering if you're capable of doing it, and you most likely are. You just need to be patient and persistent. And persistence means that you never give up. Keep on grinding it out. Keep on going.
Fuck!
After that major wrestling match with that engine, finally got the front motor mount buttoned up and getting ready to install the rear cross member. The rear of the engine is so sitting on the motorcycle jack, and the cross member is held on, if memory serves me correctly, 2 bolts on each side, so 4 bolts in total. And then I will attach the support plate to then hold the engine in place to then get the transmission mated to it. So that is the plan. Let's see if I can execute this master disaster plan. No, you don't need a lift to do this kind of work, and yes, a lift would make it easier. However, it's perfectly fine to do this in your own garage. As you can see, I did it. Yes, it takes a bit more work, a little bit more crammed, a little bit back and forth, but if you are doing this on your own car, it is completely and totally doable. Yes, at this point the engine is connected on its front center motor mount, the cross member is installed, and with the support plate also installed, bolted up to the cross member, the engine is now firmly sitting on that when I will be removing the motorcycle jack, which I will be using to install the transmission, which will be in the next video.